Hey there, and thank you for listening to the Dream Center Peoria podcast. Dream Center Peoria exists to impact families living in poverty, starting with kids and youth. If you want to learn more about what we're up to at the Dream Center, you can find us online at dreamcenterpeoria.org or on social media at Dream Center Peoria. Thanks for listening.
And so today, I am so privileged to have Mr. Les with us. How are you doing, Mr. Les?
I'm well, thank you for asking.
Good. Mr. Les is what I would say one of our backbones at the Dream Center. He is a gentleman that is on our staff. He helps with the Project 309, which is a part of our DCP students program, our after school, out of school type of program. And we are lost. I'm not just saying this. We are lost without guys like Mr. Les for what he does day in, day out. It isn't just a job to him. This is a lifestyle of his. This is the way he lives his life, is beyond the however many hours he actually works. Beyond that, he's serving kids and serving families in our neighborhood. And before we get going, Mr. Les, we just want to thank you for who you are and what you bring to the Dream Center. And so today, we just wanted to talk with Mr. Les about what he does, how he does what he does with the team that is there, but also what we are still doing during the coronavirus pandemic that's going on. So, Mr. Les, again, great to have you with us. Can you just share with us just a bit of how you got involved with us and what you do and that type of thing? Because I think that will really unpack where we're going to go in the conversation.
Okay, absolutely. I came on board going about 7, 8 years now, and it just started out as a passion because I had a surgery and I was just sitting in my home and was just talking to God, like, God, it's got to be more. It's got to be more. There's got to be more purpose for my life. And in the end of that prayer, the phone rang and I got a call from one of the other staff members, which was at that time was Robbie Chris. Today, prior is Robbie Chris. He called me and they needed a bus driver. And I came on board because I was a over-the-road truck driver, still had my CDLs. And when I went into it as if it was just a job I'm driving for a summer. But then I fell in love with what the program was doing, what Dream Center was doing, and it became a passion. And then I just want to thank God first for the opportunity just to be a blessing as he has blessed me. And then for anyone who walks into that building, just the aura and just the feel of it is just different. And that's what attracted me, and that's what drew me, and that's what's keeping me, because we're operating with just dignity, compassion, and purpose. So I just thank God for the opportunity, and for you, Andy, for allowing us just to freely move and be able to not only do it within the walls of Dream Center, but then outside of the walls of Dream Center, that the community, the youth that we serve, see us in action as well. Right now, the time we're in, it could be a scary time. So they need to see us standing on solid ground. And just saying, hey, we're here for you. We're here for you. And just thanking God to cover us as we go out into the community. So I just thank God for the opportunities.
Absolutely, Mr. Le. And like I mentioned earlier, we could not do what we do without people like yourself and Robbie and Jojo, who also is on staff, and many others. You three really head that up, and wanted to just tap into what you see. Not just while the coronavirus is going on, but also day in, day out. We've had many conversations off the record in rooms just talking about the need for people to really understand what we see day in, day out. Can you share a bit of that?
Oh, most definitely, because what we do with the youth, and they coming in already not understanding who they are, what they want to do with their life. And then when we have a team of just volunteers and the staff, And it just keeps you in a humble state when you're walking in a building and you're seeing people coming in with their bags, and you just got to say, my God, I just thank you for allowing this place to be here, because at any day it could have been any one of us. Yeah. So it gives us that mind to serve. God is not about me anymore, because we see homeless, we see brokenness, within the youth. We see, you just got to call it like it is, fatherless homes. So when they come to us as men, it's like, wow, they look at us as father figures. So we got to be careful and be mindful of what we say, how we guide, how we speak into their life. So we have to stay vigilant, prayed up, and move ourselves out the way so God can truly use us for this will, invoke his will. But I just thank God for the ones who come through the Dream Center and understand, as we tell our youth, this is a place of safety. Whatever's going on outside these walls, don't bring the negativity here, but we understand that there's negativity around you, but let's have conversations. Let's see if we can all talk about it, pray about it, get to the core of, it may not be that youth that's being bad. It could be actually, man, I'm hungry. I don't have certain clothes, so I'm getting picked on. So as we say, or as I say a lot of times, closed mouths don't get fed. So when they start opening up and trusting you and start telling us what it is, now we can meet the needs, because we're connected to the whole store. We're connected to the foods that comes in and through our pantry. And so now we can attack those needs. And then that allows us to get into the home. And then we can say, wow, okay, here's another area that maybe I'm not good at, but because of the team that we have, the resources that someone knows someone that can help, at least give it an effort.
And I know you've said it many, many times, Mr. Les, that, you came to the Dream Center as the bus driver, but now you're driving dreams around. Can you expand on that? Because that's for me, that was profound. That was like, Mr. Les gets what we're doing. It's not just taking kids here and there. It's we're moving those dreams and turning them into reality. Can you open that up a little bit for me?
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because what people don't understand is when I drive the bus and the kids start just talking, we don't call them kids, we call them our youth. Our youth just get to talking and 1,001 questions, and it becomes personal, because now you get those one-on-ones. Now you get to just have those conversations that's more intentional. And then at the end, you will see, wow, there are a lot of great youth that we serve that has dreams, that has visions to be more, to come look outside their neighborhoods or their communities, and just out of their community to say, man, Mr. Les, I just thank you for taking the time. I thank Dream Center for coming to pick us up and getting us where we need to be, because when we drop them off, I can't leave until I make sure they're in the house. I got to make sure, we'll go out our way, Mr. Les, I got basketball practice or volleyball practice. Can you come back? Because I want to come to the Dream Center. So thank God for the flexibility that we have that allows me to go back and get those youth to bring them in so they can be part of our trades. Easily we could say, all right, we don't have enough gas for that, or, not get them connected, but we want them connected. Because once you in here, in here, meaning inside the Dream Center and inside the different departments that serve you, it's like you're going to fall in love with it. You can't do nothing. It's contagious.
And you mentioned, and you mentioned about the trades, and that's a new area that we've just recently opened for someone who maybe listened to us for the first time. We were getting to a point with our after school program, Project 309. We were getting to a point where we wanted to take students the next step into their destiny. That it wasn't just we were going to help with educational needs, which we do. It wasn't just that we were going to have a mentor or a tutor there, which we still do, but we wanted to go beyond that. And what we were seeing, not only what we were seeing, but we were seeing nationally and even globally, is a lot of the kids that we work with, a lot of the students we work with, they may get to college for the first year. But it is such a huge step from high school to college that a lot of these kids then just step out. They fall back.
That's so true.
And now they're left with nothing.
Right.
And so we wanted to create a space at the Dream Center that was a job training school, a place where skills could be learned. And so in the last 2 years, we've created space. We turned some of our old racquetball courts into a carpentry studio, a 3D printing lab, which I don't know if you know this, Mr. Les, but on Saturday, I had a call from Paul Prest, who is one of the engineers at Caterpillar.
Wow.
And he heads up the 3D printing class. And he said, Andy, I need the 3D printer. And right now at his home, he has, 8 to 10 3D printers printing the surgical masks that surgeons need at the hospitals during the coronavirus pandemic. So even the 3D printer that's the Dream Centers, it's been sent somewhere, because we always say find a need and fill it, and this was one of the ways we could fill it.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And but within the trades area, we also have motor mechanics, motorbike repair. We have a t-shirt printing business. We are launching coffee, an actual DCP coffee business as well. And this is teaching kids a way out of poverty through a trade that they may never have seen before.
Exactly.
And you're on the front lines of that, Mr. Les. How has that been these past few years since we've been doing that?
Oh my God, that's what the team of volunteers that heads up all of the trades. And as we share with our youth, some of you all may not be built to go do the college thing. If it's hard for you to be in a structured classroom for the hours that you're there, so guess what? How would you maintain that going into college, where now you independently got to get yourself up, go to class, they're not holding your notes, everything, that responsibility falls on you. So with the trades, even though you don't make it to college, with these trades, it's a great career that is going to feed your family, gives you all the material things that you may want, but then also someone's pouring into you, but you're going to be required to give that back.
Yes.
Because all of us is not going to be able to stand in front of you as long as we are. You are next. Is what we say around there. You're the next thing, the next director, the next custodian, the next bus driver, the next mentor. It's going to be required of you to come back to teach the next generation.
Yeah.
So you have opportunity to learn, opportunity to just slow down. As the Bible says, be quick to listen and slow to speak. And that will allow you to understand what's happening around us. Because as my dad told me years ago, the older you get, the more you see. And now I'm just really feeling that, because here I am in my late 50s experiencing a plague.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This virus is like a plague.
Absolutely.
It's like, wow, Dad, you said that the older I get, the more I'm seeing different things around me. So I just thank God that he's given me an opportunity to have a voice. Physically, I'm not no great athlete, but what I bring to the table is my own personal experiences.
Absolutely.
My own testimony. We all uniquely have our own gifts, and we put that in a pot. It's just going to be good food coming out of it all the time. Not everybody's going to eat it, Andy. Some of them going to put it in a freezer, and one day in their life, they're going to say, I remember I had this conversation with an individual through the Dream Center, and they'll pull that out and be like, wow, it's working in my life at this time. So we thank God for that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, man.
You mentioned it just a minute ago, and then you just used an illustration about your dad. And what we notice, and the reason why I'm tapping on this is because you mentioned it earlier, is a lot of the kids that we see, a lot of the students we see, they don't have a lot of positive male role models.
That's true.
Can you speak into that a little bit about what you see, and perhaps try and break some of these barriers down to show people there may be gentlemen that are watching right now saying, I could never do that. I could never go to the Dream Center. And could you talk about some of those things that, hey, this is what happens?
Absolutely. Because I was blessed to have my mom and dad, and my dad was, he retired at the Clinton power plant when it was up and running, put in 40 plus years. And he always taught, he said, son, one day you're going to have a daughter, and you're going to want a man to treat them as I treated your mother. So by example, he showed me those things. So we bring that, for me, I bring that to the young men that gets on the bus. Ladies first, watch your language, be respectful, show yourself friendly, and friendly you shall receive. And then being part of the Connect team, because we do have a Connect family group, that now that allows us to go into some of the homes, a lot of the homes that doesn't have that father. So you'll hear me as around the center say nephew, and a lot of kids refer to me as unc or whatever that may be, because that's a respect. That's out of respect, because when I go into the homes, and God forgive me, because I never want to brag about a blessing, but he's allowed me to partner with my families, and now they're going to church with me.
Yeah.
Now they're watching it over the internet. I still have the text on my phone that they're watching the online services that's available. So thank God that he's still coming into the homes, and being in that position, you can be like, wow, just to say, hey, young man, what did you want to talk to me about that you really couldn't talk to your mother about?
Yeah. Being
sometimes the only child, the son or the male in the family with 6 sisters or 5 sisters, sometimes it's overwhelming, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to sit down and have these conversations, because there's one thing about it. When you release it to me, I'm going to release it to the atmosphere.
Oh, that's good.
Because we all know when prayers go up, blessings come down. So it's okay to have some sense of fear, because God doesn't operate we give us a spirit of fear, but to say, I'm anxious about where the next meal, I'm looking at my mom struggling and I need to work, but I got to be at school. Or the pressures of, because we're in the inner city, might be that gang mentality or that hanging with the wrong crowds. Understand what you do now will affect you later.
Yeah.
If you make this wrong choice now, that's going to affect what happens to you later. So I always try to say, keep blinders on. Some days you may want to go to the left. Some days you want to may go to the right. But with that focus, we call it the focus. Everything in front of you is what you see, is where you're trying to get to.
That's good.
So it's okay. We fall, but we get back up.
Yeah.
We hit a wall, but sometimes we go around it, but through God, we can bust through it. All right, that door may already be open when you go to do that next thing. He said, my yoke is easy. Yeah, the yoke is easy.
that is good, Mr. Les, because I know that we hear it from volunteers as well. My mind keeps going back to Mr. Mike, who does the motorbike repair. Yeah. And he's the actual gentleman that really challenged us to start the trades program. It was from a volunteer.
Yeah.
And he is a guy who has just retired from Caterpillar. Yeah. He has put in hours upon hours in, and he sees that what he is doing isn't just a hobby.
Yes.
He is taking students places. He is going, if there's an issue, for instance, and you can talk into this, but I heard that there was an issue with one of the students that he was working with, and the mom felt it was right for her to call him instead of the teacher, this is the guy who is connected with this kid and could talk into his life. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to help students find those positive role models, those godly role models that can speak life, literal life into them. And so that when the circumstances feel really dark, they know where to turn to. And it's not the gang member, it's not the guys down the street. They're turning to godly men and women who are at the Dream Center.
Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Because it's one of the things, as I run this little test, I'll say, what's the most valuable asset that you have? And of course, most people go money, car, house, whatever's important to them at the time. And then when we got back to, I said, your time. And they kind of look at me okay, distant. I said, because one thing about time, you can't buy it, you can't give it away, nor can you get any more of it. So when volunteers and people that come in to serve the center, we do not want to waste their time. Right. That's more valuable than anything. They could be doing anything else, but they choose to come in here and give of their time to help move us, you, me, and themselves to that next thing.
Yeah.
Because we all come from somewhere trying to get to something.
Yeah.
You know, we all looking for something.
Yeah. I you know, and you mentioned it just a moment ago about resources, and I'm thankful for the team that we have, because you're absolutely right. It's not just come in, do your hours and leave.
No.
And a lot of our staff, it's like that. In fact, I would say 100% of our staff, if I called them right now and said, guys, we need you down there right now, everyone will drop whatever they're doing. They're down there. And we often talk about looking for and loving well. We're always talking about we want to love people well.
Yes.
Even when it hurts.
Yes.
And right now, the team, the Project 309 team, it could have been easy for you guys to say, hey, we're going to take a few weeks off because the schools are off.
Yeah.
But what has happened is I've had challenging conversations, and conversations that I love to have with the team, because you guys, what you are concerned about is all the students that are not in school now.
Right.
They are needing help, especially the crowd that we are working with.
True.
You open that up a little bit, Mr. Les, on what you've been seeing, and what would happen if we didn't do what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of the families may not have the luxury of just the Wi-Fi, the little things that we probably take for granted. A computer, one computer in the home. You may see they got the tablets or things like that, or the phones, but they're really connecting to Wi-Fi when they're near it to be able to do the things they need to do. But through Dream Center, through our Project 309, we make it available because of the blessings of that we have Chromebooks that they came in when this first started to come in and do work, schoolwork. They started with a package. Then they sent out a blast over the phone saying that the youth they're not going to get graded on certain things, so kind of don't worry about it, but encouraging them to still do work, District 150 work, or whatever that is, whatever school that they're attending. So by allowing them to come in and come to the Dream Center and come into our program, they're able to still work on tablets, still work on staying connected and keeping the things sharp in their mind, that they don't forget and get relaxed playing games. Because the one thing about it is that it amazes me that our kids are hungry to learn, but don't have the resources to do so. You know, if the library is open or if it's not open, they don't have, a lot of them don't have cars. So they get available for us to say, all right, man, we're going to go pick them up. And that's what we did. We just went out, picked them up, brought them into the center. You know, now going into the homes and seeing what's the next need. Yeah, it's not always about food. Yeah,
right. Because we've had to change it a little bit. Obviously, as this thing has progressed. At the beginning, we were saying, okay, we're going to bring in the students. And then when it went to the 10 or less could gather, we started shifting it around a bit to where now. First off, we had an amazing donation to be able to go and purchase 20 Chromebooks, which we've got some already, but we're going to get 20 of them in the next few days. And the team, Mr. Les, Mr. Robbie, Mr. Jojo, they're going to go to the homes of the students that they feel, okay, if we don't go in there and help, these students are going to fall behind a bit. And you're going to go in and for an hour, sit with that student, do the homework, and then come out. And what also will happen is as the workers go into the homes, they will be able to evaluate where the family is. So if that family doesn't have food, doesn't have cleaning supplies, then that information can come back to the Dream Center, and we can then work either with what we've got and take it to them, or work with other agencies in town to be able to really make sure these kids don't fall behind in both academic or in nutrition.
This is true.
And so that's what we're trying to do. Mr. Les, anything to add to that?
Yeah, and with that being said, it's like, and then they'll see the impact of saying, man, somebody still cares. This is now where we got to show our strength, because the fear of the land can't be the fear of the Christian people. Right. It can't be. And son, man, how you going in different houses? You don't know if they're clean, we can't worry about it. We're blood covered. We're blood covered. This is what has to happen to show that God is still in control. Even when we pray before they even eat, we'll have the youth get up and say a prayer. But we don't pray at home. Well, we pray here. And guess what? Now they find themselves, we didn't pray before we eat. They'll stop playing the game just to come and let's pray first before any food get past through that window. And the being in the homes and now seeing that atmosphere changing. Yeah. It's changing, because coming from something positive, and you will hear them saying it, we don't have to brag on it. No. Mom, we did this at the Dream Center today. All they talk about, they want to go to Dream Center and be sad because a lot of the youth live around me, and all of a sudden that's in my connect, and they'll just say, Miss, let's do Dream Center today, or this or that. It's like, wow, it makes you smile. And just the one thing I want to add, when you say team, I have to say their names. From Brian and Seth was just walking up and down the street, the neighborhood, and it was like, you got to pray over the land. Yeah. Pray over the land. And, it was just them just walking around, just after our virtual meeting, and I'd seen them. I didn't acknowledge them because they were focused. Yeah. We didn't want to break that spirit. They were focused on doing what God had them to do. And it was like, wow. And this is what we need. Yeah. And then the youth see our faces, that we can be in our own little homes and doing our thing. But man, it's about the people. It's not about, I can only speak for me. It's not about Mr. Les no more. And I'll see it when I'm attached to you all, that this is definitely a team effort. Absolutely. I say it time and time again, Andy. I thank God for giving us a person, as we say, our shepherd in the churches, our leaders or whatever. We pray that God restore you as you pour out into us and give us vision, because he gives you vision. Yeah. You I had these conversations many times where God gives you a vision and you implement them and you obedient to his will, and we see the fruits of it. Our third and fourth floor. We see the fruits when he's given to you. So right now we have to activate our gifts and say, God, what are you trying to show us through all of this? We can't leave our babies behind because they're next. So everyone else, all I encourage you, operate with wisdom, but also we have to just step out on faith. Just say, God, this can't be it. Yeah. This is not the end game. and just to clarify for people, you're seeing probably 60 students or more a day. Yes. During this time, it's not that we are going to all 60 students, because some students are in great homes, whether it's mom and dad or mom or grandparents raising them. These are the students where you guys know, we've got to help this group of students along the way. Hardest impact, I would say. Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, Mr. Les, we're going to wrap up. I just, before we leave, I didn't know if you've got any story of hope that you've seen in the last, whether it's been the last few weeks or the last year, and what you're doing, just seeing kids' light bulbs turn on, so to speak, or. Yes. For me, it's one of those where, when you see the rewards, as we invest in our youth, we see the dividends. When we all of a sudden start seeing them come out of their shells and inviting us before this happened to, I'm going to be speaking here, or I'm graduating with this, I got a certificate. And then they see us in the crowd like, wow, you guys came. Not only just us, we got the kids. I got to call them by name. It's Kevin and Julie showing up at different events. And, Andy, we had, Love Peoria, and the kids were excited to be a part of that. It's like, wow, I could have been anywhere else, but you chose me for something I was doing right, that, man, I get to represent for my youth. And when the kids see it on their social media, it's a big deal. And we have a lot of the youth, and how can we get involved with that? We got to partner with us, come on home. Come on home. We'd love to have you. No one gets turned away. That's right. Well, Mr. Les, I just want to thank you for what you do, for who you are. We could not do it without people like yourself and the team that's there. And again, for those that are watching online or listening to us online,
please check our website out, dreamcenterpeoria.org. And we've got all the information there. If you're wanting to find out about what we're doing through the coronavirus time, just do /coronavirus to the website, and you'll see a whole page of how you can get involved, how you want to physically help us, whether that's with donations of items that we desperately need, or financially help us. I mean, to run the Dream Center, it takes a lot, and we're not closing down during the coronavirus time, which means we need to actually ramp up our staff and what we're doing. So if you can help us out in any way, please go to dreamcenterpeoria.org and hit the give button, and that'll help us out. So again, thank you so much, Mr. Les. Thank you for being a part. And again, make sure you check all our socials out at dreamcenterpeoria.org. On our website and our social media pages at Dream Center Peoria to keep up to date with everything that's going on. Again, thank you so much. Speak soon.
Thanks again for listening to the Dream Center Peoria podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you know of anyone that would be interested in hearing about what we just talked about, we would encourage you to share this episode with them. Be sure to stay tuned for future episodes. Thanks.